Do you know these people who have a rather strict and, formal relationship with their manager? In this video, we're going to talk about why that is probably not in your best interest and what you can do about that. Stay tuned. So to better understand what drives the dynamics between you and your manager, we have to look at the IT department as a whole, right? So your manager is probably reporting to the head of engineering or maybe even to the CEO directly. So he himself is like a middle manager. So the thing is that as a middle manager, you get like very high and oftentimes unrealistic expectations and deadline from the top, like from the C level. And you have to make sure that these things somehow get implemented. And the thing is that you as a middle manager, you're completely hands off. So maybe you have been developing software before, maybe you've been like a developer and then at some point you started to lead like your own team. But at that point of time, you kind of started to do more and more management and you kind of became hands off. And now the issue is that you are asked for estimations, you get like these deadlines and you have these expectations and you somehow need to make sure that they are implemented. The issue is that your reputation as a manager is like on the line. So if you do not deliver in time with the correct quality, then this will eventually fall back on you. And this will also, of course, harm your chances of actually moving up and advancing your career. So that's like the situation of your manager. Since your manager is hands off, he has to completely rely on his team to do the work. However, there's like significant productivity differences in the team, right? So there might be people who are like super productive and there might be people who are like not that productive, and the manager just knows that, right? The manager knows, okay, I need to have like my team to help me to deliver this, but I don't know if they can actually deliver because, maybe the team is not motivated, maybe they have like private problems, maybe they're just not feeling it like on that day, these kind of things. And this is what kind of puts the middle manager into pressure. Like he's always having some kind of situation because there's always this uncertainty that you cannot deliver. However, you have to make some kind of commitment to like C-level or like your head of engineering. And that is basically where you come in. So if your relationship to your manager is like very hierarchical and very formal, then it will be more like, okay, he gives like a command or asks you to do something and you just carry it out. But you are kind of not really functioning as a team. And that is actually what I would encourage you to do. So that means the next time like he comes along and says, hey, I need you to do this and that, or we need to be done by like this deadline, you just need to ask like why, right? So your task would be to understand, okay, what are your manager's constraints? Like, when do we have to deliver? Like, is it important that we deliver in time? Can we leave like certain things out, And then your manager knows, okay, this guy, he really understands like the constraints and the dynamics that are present in pretty much any organization. So that means that you're also talking like openly with your manager. Yeah, so instead of your manager just telling you like what to do, what happens is that you rather understand the context, right? So your manager will tell you, okay, look, like a couple of people are nervous because of this and this thing, because it's important that we deliver in time so that we hit like our revenue goals or we can reduce costs. In that regard, you are more and more understanding like the context in which the manager is in. And like so, your manager knows, okay, I have like this one guy, and if I have a problem, I just come to him and say, hey, look, I need you to get this done because of this constraint, and of this constraint. And we need to make sure that we deliver in time and that, the team performs well. If you kind of show or like empathize with the manager and say, okay, look, I know in what situation you're in. I know you have to deliver this. Like, don't worry, I will take care of it. And that is actually what brings both of you forward, because now you're a good team, because the manager is doing like all the management stuff and the meetings and the deadlines and so on. But at the same time, he knows that there is someone on whom he can rely that things are getting delivered. And that's the most important thing, right? So he or she knows, okay, if this developer tells me it will be done by that date, then it will be done. So for a software engineer, making these commitments is like a little bit easier than for the middle manager, right? Because as a software engineer, you understand like the details of the system. So you know exactly what you have to do, you know how difficult it is. And so you're like rather confident whether it can be done in a particular amount of time or not. And so the information, like the details about the system, the knowledge there is like asymmetric. So you, because you are hands-on, have like way more knowledge about the system, about all the details than the manager. And that is kind of like what you can leverage, right? So you can bring both things together. So like the management knowledge and also the very detailed knowledge. So you bring in the detailed knowledge, the manager brings in like the knowledge about management and the dynamics in the company. And like so, you can deliver like together really good results. And that is also what I would encourage you to do. So let's assume your relationship with your manager is rather hierarchical or formal. How can you improve that? And I have a very simple approach to that. Just ask one particular question. So just ask, what is important for you, right? Because now it's no longer about just what needs to be delivered, but also, okay, we need to deliver this thing because of that and that and that. And if you kind of cultivate that and you do that often, then you start to understand like the dynamics and the constraints in an even better way. Yeah, so that's my overall take on all of this. Make sure to form a coalition with your manager. Make sure you understand his or her constraints, and then the cooperation will be way easier and way smoother. So thank you so much for watching. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.